Hello and welcome back to another walkthrough on the client portal. Today we're going to be discussing timelines. Timelines are an important step for a couple reasons because this will keep your client apprised of everything that's happening in their case. When the phase gets changed, you can map out different phases and basically it will send them automatic notifications and different things that are happening with their case. But also you do have to have at least one timeline set up in order for the client portal to be toggled on from any case in Filevine. So we do need to at least set up one. You guys can see here we have a lot of different cases. Not all of these are ones that we might be using, but for the most part, maybe we do want to come in here and set up one for our personal injury case. So we can come in here and simply just select Setup here. So once you hit setup, you'll get this pop-up box. You have a couple different options. The first one will be copy from existing. Once you build out a few timelines, you might want to copy over that timeline and then just change a couple things instead of reinventing the wheel and reformatting this. So that will be an option to you once you have some timelines made. Otherwise, you can start from a template. So Filevine does kind of have some pre-programmed timeline setups here that you can go ahead and select and then hit apply. And you will see here that some of this information is already populating for step 1, step 2, and then all the way through step 7. So these are some great kind of boilerplate language that then you would be able to come in here and update with your firm name and maybe any other additional information that you would like. Otherwise, you do have a third option, which is start from scratch, which I'll show you guys what that looks like. And if you don't want to use copy from existing or template, you can come in here and say start from scratch. Then you will see that there is no kind of boilerplate information or text that we had seen from Filevine previously. And I can maybe copy in one of my own descriptions here and write that out. So we can kind of go ahead and set one of these up together. So I've opted to start this from one of the templates. You'll notice that this automatically gave it a name, so we're going to call this file setup. This is going to be the note that's going out to my client, and then I can also select a phase. So I have in here the file setup phase, which would be a great phase to essentially start this first step on. Then I can always progress down here. So this is going to be getting to the treatment phase. I can find that within my section. If I have a treatment or if I have a med, something like that, you can come in here and you can match up those phases with what is going on in your different step here or your different timeline so that we ensure that these messages are being set up and sent out to your client on the correct phases. Full option that you have within here is actually to insert a video URL. So if you had a video that your firm likes to share with folks as they're going through the treatment phase, you can link that here using one of these link options. Now, once you finish building out this timeline, and maybe because this is in personal injury, you want to build out this specific timeline just for motor vehicle accidents, and then you'd like to build out a different timeline for premises cases. So what you can actually do at this point is come in here and say split timeline. By doing that, you can select a field selector from a static section where you can basically dictate what type of accident or incident this is. So if I wanted to use this one that I have an intake called incident type, I can essentially come in here and then add a new name for this based off of this incident type here. So if I wanted to set this up and make this based on an MVA accident, I can come in here and just select whatever this would be populating from my incident type. So if I had a drop down and said MVA, premise, different things like that, I would want to select one of those options. So I'm going to select MVA here. And you can see now I am editing my MVA timeline for this specific event. And then once I come in here, I could also basically add another one for premise if I would like, and we can go ahead and update that. And you can see as soon as I hit add new timeline and I hit premise, this now step 1, everything's gone because I'm kind of starting from scratch and we would be programming new information for this timeline here. So you could obviously come over, maybe the file setup is going to be the same. So I can come over here to my MVA template that I'm clicked into, copy this file setup phase, and then I can just come over here and maybe name it the same, right? Because for the most part, this might not change based on my case. Oops. And we would just want to keep that the same. But then maybe step 2, since it's a premise, we're going to be needing to gather different information. So I wouldn't want to maybe copy over everything that I had in step 2. I would want to update that to make it more personalized. Once we have my split timeline updated here for premise and MVA, I can go ahead and come over here and hit publish. We do have some options. It might show us if there's unmapped options. So, I didn't set up any additional information, and you can see here, I have this spelled out as motor vehicle collision. So MVA that I have would not pull that up. So you have to make sure what you're building into the dropdown is actually what you're going to be referencing on the timeline, or else even this premise liability one would not show up, because over here I just called it premise instead of premise liability. Over here I called it MVA instead of motor vehicle collision. So you want to make sure that those will work, and then it'll also let you know if there's any unmapped phases. This might be by design, or you might want to go back and say, hey, when it's in the discovery phase, this is going to be the note that we're sending out. You will have the option to go ahead and override this anyway. So if we just want to hit publish anyway, it will start saving for us. Now you can see that this will show published. I do have a custom field selector set up, and it's going to show me how many timelines I have and if I'm using different templates. So once that's all done, you have completely set up your timeline, and the client portal is almost ready to use.